If you were running the Ethereum Foundation, what would you do differently in a broad sense? Well, the number one problem Ethereum has is that they took an easy road out where they did three things wrong. So first off, wrong protocols. They have the wrong accounting model, they have the wrong virtual machine, and they have the wrong consensus model. Um, all of these were self-inflicted wounds. People told them not to do it. They did it, and they got where they needed to go. Second, what they chose to do to solve these problems is put in all these weird slashing economics and layer twos and other things, and now they're living with all of the consequences of these types of things. And third, they really don't have a good on-chain governance system. So really what needs to happen is you need a parallel track with solving all those three things. First off, you have to solve your technological problems. So the current protocol they have for proof of stake is wrong, and they need to wean themselves off of that protocol gradually. And I think Ouroboros Laos, this whole telescoping protocol design is the way to go. And there are certainly other ways you can go, but if I think the object model of SWI would be probably the best model for them. SWI solved a lot of things. Narwhal and Tusk is good. The dev model is not so bad. I think it is good to go to RISC-V. That's a really good decision for Vitalik to make. It makes a lot of sense. But the accounting model also has to be kind of revised a little bit. And that's why the SWI style approach is better. If you want to stay on accounts, you have to move to like Anomia. You have to do intents. And something like RISC-V with intents with an object model like SWI probably would fit their ecosystem quite well. And then Narwhal and Tusk style consensus is probably good enough for them. There'll always be somewhat centralized with that. And then they have to, second path, build an on-chain government so they actually can solve all these crazy problems with upgrading the system and rallying people and coordinating people. And then they have to find a way to have the layer twos not be parasitic. And unfortunately, I don't see a path on how to do that easily. It's going to be a very hostile divorce to resolve these types of things because the tokenomics are what they are. That's why we thought about a lot about how to build a layer 2 ecosystem in Cardano that's non-parasitic, but it's actually symbiotic. That's what Midnight is doing with Cardano. So we have the right accounting model. We have the right consensus model. We have the right virtual machine model because we're already on RISC-V because of the Bitcoin DeFi stuff that we're doing. And that's always there, and it can easily be integrated into Midgard as an extension. And, Hydra is like hand in glove, the type of stuff that you need. And we already have the on-chain government. And, it's kind of weird now, but it'll be awesome in 3 to 5 years. For them at their scale and size, it'll take 5 to 7 years to build an on-chain government. So I don't think Ethereum will survive, more than 10 years to 15 years. The layer 2s will continue to suckle out all of the alpha. And people will start fighting, and it'll get harder and harder for Vitalik to be able to hold it together through sheer force of will. And users will gradually migrate to other places, and then they're going to get eclipsed by Bitcoin DeFi because once that turns on, the TVL will be larger than Ethereum. And a lot of people will start migrating in that particular direction. And that paradigm's in UTXO, so very naturally starts moving people in that direction. And the other thing is they're being eaten alive by Solana and SWI and these other things. So brilliant project. It's just victim of its own success, like MySpace or any of these other things that have a lot of network effect and momentum. BlackBerry is another example. But people have fundamentally different paradigms that over the long term are intrinsically superior. And they creep up on you. Like Perplexity could destroy Google if they're not careful. Every year it gets a little better. It starts getting more and more people. And then you start noticing like, hang on a second here. 85% of all the searches I did were with Perplexity. I don't see any ads. It's easy to use. I can get very exacting answers. I can be, it just tells me the answer. Like Google, go to Google, you search on Google, and you're like, God, okay, how many people have diabetes in the state of North Dakota who are over the age of 55? It's a question, right? You'll get some websites. You have to go to the websites. You have to scan through the website, see if there's a table or anything like that. You go to Perplexity, it thinks for a bit and just gives you an answer. That's much better search. That's what you want, not where to find what you want. So when these new paradigms come, if you don't tackle them immediately, they kill you very quickly. And that's where Ethereum is at.